Can I have your attention, please? Some people are really hungry. I see Sue Books trying to make a run for the line already. Sorry, Sue, have a seat. Before we get started this evening, before we eat, I'll have Reverend Ken Royer give the invocation.
May we pray together. O God, we do give thanks to you this night for the gifts that you have given, a community in which to live and work, for friends and family and associates that encourage us in our daily walk. And we pray that your Spirit might guide us in such a way that our community grows in the spirit of mercy and justice, that those who come to be among us will find us to be caring people. And now on this night, when we gather to celebrate what has happened this past year and look ahead to a new year, we seek your blessing and presence. Grant to us vision of what you would have this community to be and the strength to bring it about. And now sustain us with your food and strengthen us for service and the building of a better community. For we pray this in God's name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Royer. A lot of you may be asking yourself, why does this guy always go up and be the MC at the Chamber Annual Awards? Well, I can answer that. It's because we get to eat first. And I think what we'll do this year, we'll just start, this table will be after the head table, and we'll work our way that way, because I hate to have these people sitting close to the food, smelling it, and then having to suffer for any length of time. Your attention. Big gavel. Now that Bob Phipps is coming back in the room, we can get started. Oh, excuse me. I'd like to welcome all of you to the 1997 Chamber of Commerce Awards Banquet. I'd like to first of all thank Joanne Sloka for the wonderful music again this year. We appreciate it very, very much. I'd also like to thank the Ambassador Club right up front. They're the Redcoats. For greeting everyone at the door and doing a wonderful job making all of us feel welcome, and not only at the annual banquet but also the job they do each year welcoming new businesses into the community. So, Ambassador Club. And of course, I'd like to welcome all of you to this awards banquet. As evidenced by the crowd this evening and the list of awards to be given, Fairfield is very much alive and is very well positioned to, as President Clinton says, cross that bridge into the new millennium. As I mentioned before we started eating, some of you may be asking yourself, why is that doggone Craig Foss acting as MC again? Well, one of the reasons, of course, is I already said that I get to eat first, and of course, that is one thing I will do for a meal. Secondly, as some of you may remember, I was alternating this position with an individual in this room, and it seems as though the ball got passed into my court a couple of years ago, and he's not taking the ball back. And of course, I'm referring to Dave Dickey. Well, Dave did have a very valid excuse this year. Dave has undertaken the responsibilities as mayor of Packwood. And that's, you know, that's a great civic duty, and he's doing a great job up there. Packwood's newest claim to fame is that they're the bank robbery capital of Jefferson County. That's both real and simulated. Since these events have unfolded in Packwood, there have been a lot of rumblings up there among the citizenry about city government, and perhaps Mayor Dickey is soft on crime. So Dave, rather than being able to spend time preparing for this and being able to spend time to be the MC, he's spent a lot of time, and he's now come up with the final version of the 1997 Omnibus Crime Reconciliation Simplification Act for the city of Packwood. As I understand it, it's the mother of all crime bills. He's gonna answer his critics, and he's gonna prove to them that he is tough on crime. So Dave, next year, after you get crime solved, this year also marks another, I guess, a monumental occasion and something that's noteworthy. As all of you know, Mike Brewer was the longtime executive director of our Chamber of Commerce, and Mike's elected to take on new responsibilities and take on a new job and move to a new community. A lot of us are going to miss Mike an awful lot. We've appreciated his leadership, we've appreciated his enthusiasm, and we've appreciated all he's done for the Chamber of Commerce and for the Fairfield area. Mike did a great job as our executive director, and we certainly appreciate that, all his efforts. And I think there'll be more said later on in the program. But personally, I wanted to make mention of that because I personally wish to thank Mike for all that he has done as the Chamber executive. And Mike and I have had a great relationship, and I've enjoyed his friendship, enjoyed the fishing trips and the camaraderie. Mike and I have also, through the years, have had a standing $5 bet on the Iowa State basketball game, and with Mike leaving the community, I reflected on that a little bit, and we've had a lot of fun with it. It's not as simple as just paying someone a $5 bill. You know, sometimes you had to spice it up a little bit. In my office, I have an old International Harvester wagon that's got 500 pennies in it, for example. And I've got 500 pennies in some other container too. And I know there was some colored water disguised as a bourbon one year that had some dimes in it. So we've had a lot of fun with it. But Mike, I was reflecting back on all of that, and I've concluded, and I have to fess up, I owe you $5. So if you want to come forward, I want to pay up. There's nothing that'll get Mike to move faster than money. So Mike, just so we can even the score, right here, in front of the crowd, here's your $5.
Oh my God! Real
It's a $5 bill. Wait a second, Mike. Mike. That was $5 for the 1995 Iowa State basketball game. There's been one since then. And that was last month. Thank you. Thank you very much. By the way, that's 3 out of the last 4 years for me. Moving on with the program, first award this evening is the Ambassador of the Year Award, and Deb Carlson, present that.
Well, as you well know, this group is the one that is the most fun, and our sole purpose is, of course, to welcome people to our community. So I'd like to welcome all of you to tonight's festivities. It's nice to see such a good group. I would like to make a personal thank you to the ambassadors for making this year such a wonderful year, and I know 1997 is going to be just as rewarding. We sure had a lot of visits to make this year. It was just incredible. We had sometimes up to 3 and 4 visits we'd make to businesses and new relocated businesses in the area. And as you know, each year we reward one ambassador member of our group for attending the most functions that we have each year. And at this time I would like Donna Henderson to come forward and receive this award. To Donna and Don's shop, you'll know that she frames her community with love.
Following down the agenda, I'd like to introduce to you the President of the Fairfield Economic Development Association, Dave Reif, for some remarks. Dave?
Thanks a lot, Craig. I checked with Mr. Dickey too, since we were giving him the year off, and I thought maybe I could at least get some old recycled jokes out of either he or Royce Huff, but lucky for you, neither one could come up with much. So then I thought, who else makes things interesting? And Janine Felmer always does just a great job with little after-dinner games and desserts. But I forgot to get her called in time, and it wouldn't be fair to have you lead this big a group in some of those word games that out there. So really, I thought I'd just take a couple minutes of your time. I realize I separate you from the awards you came to see tonight that are more exciting, perhaps, but really, let me just give you a real quick overview. A lot of times people aren't too familiar with the Fairfield Economic Development Group and really where it came from. This is 90 or 100 business and individuals from this area that back in the 70s banded together and assessed themselves some membership type dues and started buying some property so that they would have an inventory in order to assist all sorts of business development. And over the years, it actually has worked quite well. Maybe not in the very early years that Mike can attest to, but thanks to a lot of good, solid volunteerism and board work, we've got a group now that can function in this community when people need some help. And some of the misconceptions are that perhaps we're a business consulting service. no, we'll defer quickly to MUM or the Small Business Development Group, Brian Ziegler over at Indian Hills, or Dale Kraus with RC&D. If you need help with a business plan or you know, getting your ideas and plans in order before you build, that's the kind of people that we might help you find. And we're not a bank, as the banks know. They're in business. The banks and S&Ls of the community do a great job working with us, but that's, of course, if you hear that we've made a loan, it's usually a shorter term, a bridge loan of some sort to get maybe a SEBA grant or something going, but that's not our charge either. And we're not a real estate broker or developer as such. We, again, feel that wherever there's commercial activity already being done, we really don't want to interfere. I really think our mission is far more facilitating persons, groups, or businesses that know they need land to build or expand existing or new business, and so we try to maintain an inventory of land and such in order to make those things happen for a stronger Fairfield. It's just we work wherever we can to facilitate those needs. And I'd like to introduce my board if we can, because they do a lot of work. And Craig Foss is here. And would you stand so people can see you? I see John Morrissey. I know Rex is out there, John Hammis. Mayor Rasmussen. Who am I missing? Ross? I saw Ross earlier. Okay. Okay, so that's all I've got, and back to you, Craig.
Next portion of the program will prove to all of you, in case you have any doubts, how vibrant this community is and how the community is developing and growing. And that portion of the program are the Business Improvement Awards. Presenting the awards this year are Bev Nelson and Jody Kerr.
Somehow I get to go first. How about that? Just so you all know, as Dave said, this is one of the exciting parts of this evening. And we're going to tell you a little bit about each business as we give them their award. PackageNet Incorporated, formerly known as Express Shipping Centers, took over the entire two-story office space in the building previously occupied by Crystal Forest. The space was completely renovated with new offices and conference room. The outside of the building was landscaped. PackageNet currently occupies 30,000 square feet of office and warehouse space in Fairfield's Industrial Park. Here to accept the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce Business Improvement Award is Kevin Toohey, Vice President of PackageNet Incorporated. A retail sales center for manufactured modular homes has been established at the intersection of South Main and Libertyville Road. Permanent signs, utilities, gravel parking area, walkways, and landscaping are just a few of the improvements to the area. 5 new homes are displayed in a U-shaped courtyard. Interiors of the homes are completed and ready for showing. Fairfield Homes Incorporated brings to Fairfield a way to help ease the housing crunch. Here to accept the award are Don Holting, President, and Sonia Holting, Vice President. In January 1996, this company acquired 27,000 square feet building in the Fairfield Industrial Park. The building owned by IES Utilities was previously occupied by Granitech. This acquisition has allowed Harper Brushworks the ability to consolidate warehousing operations, thus eliminating 3 remote warehouses. It has also afforded the company the opportunity to improve the efficiencies of shipping, receiving, order filling through improvements made in operation, layout of equipment, and storage media. Though at this time employment has not increased as a result of the acquisition, it has enhanced Harper Brushworks' competitive position in the marketplace. This expansion will place the company in a position to grow even more aggressively. The future plans are to sell the North 2nd Street building and add a 30,000 to 40,000 square foot addition to the building in the industrial park. Here to accept the award tonight for Harper Brushworks is Gary Moore, Plant Manager, and Randy Rhodes, Purchasing Traffic Manager. Now, Randy, did you want to speak?
That's all.
Oh, okay. A lifelong dream of this chamber member was to own her own shop and bring quality educational material to Fairfield. No longer will educators, parents, and children need to travel out of town to find great books, puzzles, games, posters, and bulletin board materials. The former Young America shop has been completely remodeled with new lighting, shelving, carpet, furnace, air conditioner, plus new cedar siding and awnings on the outside. Granny's Attic is a wonderful place to explore and find old favorites for all ages. And here tonight to accept the Business Improvement Award is Gay Chapman, owner of Granny's Attic. This longtime Fairfield business simply outgrew their former building, so land was bought right around the corner and a new brick building was built. The move to the new building was completed in mid-July 1996. With beautiful interior decorating, Jefferson County Farm Bureau agents, office employees, and clients now have some very pleasant surroundings. Here to accept the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce Business Improvement Award is Pat Kessel, agent at Jefferson County Farm Bureau. Hey, there's a new play place in Fairfield and it's really colorful and fun. McDonald's new addition is sure to bring out the kid in everyone. The new addition adds 45 more seats to the restaurant and lots of fun playground equipment. Also added was a new face-to-face drive-thru that everyone seems to enjoy. Unfortunately, Dale Fredericks couldn't be here tonight, so we'll make sure he gets his award. Morton Building Incorporated not only put up a lot of buildings in the area in 1996, but they also squeezed in enough time to remodel their own building on West on 34. The front office area was completely remodeled with a step-down roof, deep overhangs, new front foyer with full brick and Pella windows. The office area got a complete makeover with oak trim, wainscoting, new ceiling tile, flooring, high-efficiency furnace and air conditioner. And the back warehouse area also was completely insulated and covered in, of course, Morton steel, and overhead doors with electric remotes were added to help the burgundy and beige color scheme. Accepting the award for business improvement tonight for Morton Building is Rory Eubanks, office manager. Many storage units are in demand, and Winfrey Storage is doing everything they can to keep up with the need. In 1996, a new 5,000 square foot building was constructed on West Grimes. The total storage is now at 50,000 square feet with 450 units. That's a lot of stuff. Accepting the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce Business Improvement Award is Jeff Winfrey, owner, or otherwise known as Tiger Woods, right? When this chamber member retired from the National Guard, he knew he needed something to keep him busy. So he took his craft store that he and his wife had operated out of their home since 1987 and brought it to town. A property on Burlington Street was purchased in April of '96, and construction of a new building began in June. The couple had seen many craft or antique shops along with tea rooms be very successful. So with construction done by October 21st, the Noisy Goose Cafe was opened. The tea room soon became larger and busier than ever expected. Along with a unique name like Noisy Goose, unique crafts, furniture, and gifts are in the back of the cafe. Accepting the award tonight are Doug and Linda Waugh, owners of the Noisy Goose Cafe. In 1995, Inc. magazine rated Telegroup the second fastest growing private company in America. Governor Branson awarded the company for their contribution to job growth in southeast Iowa. At the time, Telegroup was the third largest employer in Jefferson County. In 1996, Telegroup surpassed that growth. Revenue skyrocketed from $130 million to $210 million. Telegroup's talented workforce grew from 312 employees to 478 employees during the year. Telegroup currently occupies 56,500 square feet of office space in Telegroup East, and a campus of building in the 3rd Street area, an office building on Burlington and Main Streets, and 2 offices in Coralville, Iowa. This does not include the employees or workspace for approximately 40 offices around the world. In March of this year, approximately 200 employees will move to Telegroup North, which is located north on Highway 1. This building has about 32,000 square feet. Accepting the award tonight for Telegroup is Doug Nish, Vice President of Corporate Finance. This couple found a great franchise several years ago and have continued to expand it. Subway still occupies their original Fairfield store on North 2nd, and in 1996 another store was built on Highway 34 West. The 1,800 square foot structure was completely built by Fairfield tradesmen. The bright new restaurant has seating for 50 customers, and with the opening of the new store, breakfast items were added. Accepting the Fairfield Area Chamber Business Improvement Award is Becky Graneman, Vice President. Breadeaux Pizza moved from the northwest corner of the square to 53 East Broadway, Fairfield, a half a block east. With their new place, they expanded their seating capacity from 30 to 60, plus a party room for a total seating of 84. The Great Breadeaux menu has been expanded with the move. Pasta entrees such as ravioli, tortellini, lasagna are now offered in both meat sauces and creamy Alfredo sauce. Breadeaux also features ice cream. The dessert pizzas have been expanded to offer cherry and blueberry to go along with apple, peach, or streusel. Anybody hungry yet? Here tonight to accept the award is Dale and Roger Beckman, owners. Now I'll turn over to Jody Kerr.
Founded in November of 1995 with a small bank loan, a few credit cards, and a lot of determination, Natural Selections has more than doubled in size after just 1 year in business. The store space has truly been renovated to its original design. For decades, an archway between 104 and 106 South Main locations was hidden, but in November of 1996, it was reopened, creating one large, beautifully remodeled store space. Natural Selections is proud to say that no new wood was needed for the renovations and that only non-toxic paints and floor sealants were used. The expansion was necessary due to the increased demand for hard-to-find organic cotton products, especially the high-quality, affordably priced organic cotton bedding Natural Selections began manufacturing in the summer of 1996. Accepting the award on behalf of Lonnie Kuffner and Michael Haley for Natural Selections is Dave Neff. In 1994, the entire Whitney Monument Building, located at 601 Depot, was sided and insulated. In 1995, the office and display room went through major remodeling. This involved drywalling over cement walls, lowering ceilings, new carpet, paint, wallpaper, and office furniture. A new roof was also put on. Another addition to the display room was a stained glass window designed by Kent Whitney and Gay Chapman. Gay Chapman also made the window. The design has become the company's logo. Then, in 1996, a CAD, or computer-aided design system, was added. This addition increases the design and production capabilities not only for monuments, but in the signage industry as well. Kent Whitney, owner of Whitney Monument Works, is here to accept the award tonight. Kokomo's Cafe emerged through a transformation and renovation of the former Wild Rose Restaurant and Barnstormer Lounge at the Best Western Fairfield Inn. By removing the wall which divided the restaurant and lounge, adding a new section of bar, adding a new hardwood dance floor, and redecorating with new tables, chairs, carpet, and window treatments, Kokomo's Cafe was created. A whole new menu and regular live entertainment completes the transformation to a fun, informal, mini-vacation atmosphere. Here to accept the award tonight is Ross Walker, owner of Best Western Fairfield Inn and Kokomo's Cafe. Demolition of the old Iowa State Bank drive-up facility took place in May 1995. In June, the new building was started. The 10,000 square foot building opened for business in April 1996. There are 5 drive-through lanes with 1 drive-through ATM machine and 4 walk-up lobby teller stations. Full deposit and lending services are available, as well as safe deposit boxes. The building consists of soft rose-toned brick veneer and stone construction using a contemporary interpretation of Victorian design with varying roof planes and soffits. The interior look reveals dark green marble accents, etched glass windows, and extensive use of finely detailed oak millwork and cabinetry, and artwork that was hand-picked to focus on the bank's commitment to the family and our youth. A vintage vault door, showcased in brass and copper highlights, complement the sage green carpeting, traditional furniture, and handcrafted millwork. The new structure at the corner of 4th and Burlington provides a valuable asset not only for their own customers but for the entire community. Accepting the award is David Eastburn, President and CEO of Iowa State Bank and Trust Company. In the spring of 1996, the inventory of Carol's Apparels was expanded to include ladies' clothing in unique styles and natural fibers. This addition brought in many new customers, and soon the previous location was outgrown. In October, the store was moved to the square in the former Simone's location on the east side of the square. Business doubled in the first month and has continued to grow exponentially over the last 3 months. Carol looks forward to continued growth and serving the needs of the community with fine quality apparel for the whole family. Accepting the award for Carol's Apparels tonight is owner Carol Moorhead. Some of you probably witnessed the transformation of the Central Valley Bank at their main location. It all started with new countertops at the teller counter. We all know once something like this is done, everything else around needs spruced up as well. This was followed by all new wallpaper and blinds, reupholstered furniture, new desktops, new ceramic tile in the entryway, repainting all cabinets, and finally all new carpeting throughout the office. After all this, it only seemed fitting that some new office furniture be added as well. Greg Lowenberg, Vice President and Branch Manager of Central Valley Bank, couldn't be with us tonight, but we wish him luck. The Mansion Hotel and Resort opened on May 30th, 1996, and was an overnight success. Nearly 70% of the rooms sold out in the first 3 months of operation, and the remaining rooms were 100% occupied during most of the fall. The Mansion, the first building on Mandala 2 of the Maharishi Center for Perfect Health and World Peace, created a powerful momentum toward the completion of this 500-room development. In addition to one global center, which opened in August as the executive headquarters of USA Global Link, the development will include private homes and mansion villas, now under construction, a 150-room condominium complex, additional offices, and the 200-room Grand Hotel. Construction on all remaining aspects of the development is planned to begin this spring and summer and be completed in 1 year. Accepting the award tonight is Marketing Advisor Janine Felmer. Somebody Cares completed a transformation of their look in 1996. New carpeting was put down, new built-in wall displays were added, more floor space was freed up, and a total rearrangement of the floor displays was done. Jan Overholzer, owner, is accepting the award tonight for Somebody Cares. Thaddeus Computing acquired the building at 110 North Court, where the old Abstract Company was located, for expansion of the business. This followed the 1995 purchase of the 59 East Broadway building to expand upstairs offices. In addition to publishing the HP Palm Top paper for the 5th year, Thaddeus Computing started a new publication, HP OmniGo World, released a new book, PC in Your Pocket, and a CD Infobase. They also started working closely with Microsoft on another new publication, Handheld PC Magazine, which will support the new Microsoft Windows CE palm-sized computers. They are proud of their expansions in 1996. Over 50,000 readers in 83 countries have read the Fairfield-based publication since they began in 1985. Accepting tonight for Thaddeus Computing are Hal Goldstein, Executive Editor, Publisher, and Owner, and Rita Goldstein, Executive Advisor and Owner. Earth and Sea Gem Company went from a small office above Somebody Cares to a house on South 3rd Street. The house is 150 years old and was beautifully restored as close to its original historic quality as was possible. The business has continued to expand its wholesale activity, and the retail section remains as strong as ever. Sean and Marion O'Sullivan, owners, are accepting their award tonight. Many types of expansion took place at USA Global Link during 1996. The number of employees increased from 40 in 1995 to 240 in 1996. They now have more than 100,000 customers, transmit 200 million minutes of international calls per year, and serve 200 nations and territories. The revenues also jumped from $176 million in 1995 to $280 million in 1996. USA Global Link offers discounts on long-distance service greater than the big three, AT&T, MCI, and Sprint. USA Global Link also offers international virtual private network services, wholesale carrier services, internet access, and a variety of value-added services. These include international and domestic teleconferencing services, prepaid calling cards, and travel cards. Christopher Hartnett, chairman of USA Global Link, and C. Holland Taylor, CEO, were chosen to represent the United States government as members of the U.S. delegation to the International Telecommunication Union in Geneva, Switzerland. C. Holland Taylor was appointed chairman of the Ethics Committee of the Telecommunication Resellers Association, or TRA, and also chairman of the TRA's International Resale Council. Here to accept the award tonight is the President of USA Global Link, Larry Kroman. Once again, Readings Fund has had a busy year. The company is currently in all 50 states plus Canada. During 1996, they increased annual sales from $85 million a year ago to $15 million. The Fairfield home office staff grew to 210 from 143 in 95, and the national sales rep force went from 500 representatives to 625. The company also developed new markets, including fundraising, daycare, and library sales. The expansion noticeable to most of us, though, was the complete renovation of 2 buildings at the northwest corner of the square, including the Tetelestai Christian Bookstore. Here to accept the award tonight is President and CEO of Readings Fund Limited, Earl Kaplan. This concludes the 1996 Business Improvement Awards, and now Jeff Wilson will present the Community Improvement Award.
There is a 1997 Community Improvement Award for 1996. 1988, the Fairfield Public Library Board of Trustees started a long-range planning process. After many steps, including a $1.1 million fundraising campaign and 2 bond referendum campaigns, Fairfield's new 23,000 square foot library opened in May of 1996. The new library building continues the heritage of library service dating back to 1853. Accepting the award for the library is the Library Board President, David Johnson.
Before we move on to the next award, I'd like to make a comment or two about all the recipients and the awards that were just given. It should be obvious to all of you that Fairfield's got an awful lot going for it. This community is growing. There's a lot of energy here, and there's a lot of new things, and it's an exciting town to live in. I also wonder if maybe some of the business improvements and new projects maybe don't speak to us a little bit in some of their features. And one of the features I find to be quite interesting is a feature that appears at the Iowa State Bank drive-in facility, which is a beautiful facility. It's got beautiful woodwork, beautiful architecture. But I think maybe there might be a subtle message in one of its features that maybe speaks to the drivers of Fairfield and the bank's opinion of some of us and how we drive in Fairfield. And that relates to the drive-up ATM machine that's right there along Burlington Avenue. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to use that, but it's a very convenient place if you need to get cash. You just pull your car right up and use that facility. You don't even need to leave your car. The one thing that I wonder about, however, is the Braille instructions on that drive-up facility. I'm not sure if that's the board of directors speaking to those of us and how we drive in this community or not. The next award this evening is the Entrepreneur of the Year Award, and Earl Kaplan, as I understand it, you're to present that? Okay, it's yours.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here. It was a great honor last year. to receive the award for Entrepreneur of the Year, and it's a great honor again this year to be able to present it to Chris Hartnett and USA Global Link. Personally, I have to admit I'm rather jealous because these guys are doing an amazing job growing their business. Any company that can grow $100 million in 1 year is, truly amazing. And Chris is a very intelligent, far-sighted person. He started his business back in 1992. I really don't believe he had a lot of previous knowledge about telecommunications. But I guess he asked a lot of questions. He traveled around the world. He figured out what was necessary to beat the big three, MCI, AT&T, and Sprint, in terms of giving excellent service and excellent rates to people all over the world. And so I think it's just amazing that in a small town of Fairfield, we can have a company that is doing $280 million in sales this year. Fairfield really is an amazing community. I travel all around the world, and people always, ask me where I'm from. And I always say, well, I live in this small town in Iowa called Fairfield. And they say, well, what are you doing there? Now you can imagine what I say. Actually, I always tell them that, it's a great place to live, that the people are very kind and very wonderful, and that there's no place in the country that I know of better to raise your kids up and to make friends that will be friends for life. And I've really enjoyed my stay here of 17 years. I know that Chris feels the same way. He has a beautiful family. He has 3 kids who he's raised here. He travels around quite a bit. When people ask Chris why he lives in Fairfield, I'm really not sure what he says either. But here we all are, and I think this community works very well. I think that a lot of people are here helping a lot of other people. I know in our early days, we received a lot of help from real estate people and the bank. I ran into Dave Neff today, and he thanked me for last year plugging Iowa State Bank. Now, unfortunately, they did not increase our loan limit, so I'm not sure what I'll say next year. And this is a really great event. I ran into Dave Reif. I haven't seen Dave for a year, and he asked me why I no longer came and bought soybeans from him, because I used to have my tofu business. But so USA Global Link, I'm sure, has bigger plans for the future. From what Larry Croman tells me, this year was just the beginning. And next year, or last year was just the beginning. This year they plan to get serious about their business. So with that, I'd like Larry to come and accept the award for USA Global Link for Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor for me to accept this award tonight for Chris Hartnett. Chris sends his apologies that he couldn't be here. Tonight is the first evening of the USA Global Link board meeting. Members have flown in from all over the globe, and out at the mansion they're having the inauguration dinner. But he wishes to send all his best to all of you. He wants to thank the board of directors of the chamber, all the members of the chamber, and all the people of Fairfield for their wonderful support. To answer Earl's question, when people ask Chris why he's from Fairfield, he says, "My name is Hartnett." That means heart. Fairfield is a town with lots of heart, with lots of people who care, with lots of people who work hard, with the community spirit and spirit to create something great. It was really the only place that I could create a global business. And to tell you a little bit about Chris Hartnett, I think we are very fortunate to have a man of his stature in our community, because I think as history unfolds, we will see Chris follow in the steps of great men like Thomas Edison, like Henry Ford, like Bill Gates of Microsoft, because Chris really is changing the way the world knows telecommunications. Wherever Chris goes in the world, newspaper reporters come and say, "Mr. Hartnett, what are you going to do here? How are you going to change this country?" And to give you a little bit of an example of who Chris Hartnett is and the greatness of this man, when he started the business of international long-distance telecommunications, they told him, "Do not go to two countries." They said, "If you ever go to either of those two countries, you will probably be thrown in jail and no one will ever see you again." And they said those two countries are Singapore and Indonesia. Well, when Chris heard that, he read about a conference in Singapore. He quickly got on a plane and went to Singapore. When he got off the plane, the newspapers greeted him. He told them about USA Global Link. And a few days later, he was quietly slipped a note in one of the meetings. "The chairman of Singapore Telecom would like to meet with you." So a chauffeur-driven car came to Chris's hotel, picked him up. He went to Singapore Telecom's giant office building, rode the elevators up to the very top floor, which was their private office complex. It was like a beautiful ancient Chinese museum, and walked into a room, and all of Singapore Telecom's board and directors and officers were there. And Chris sat down, and one of the officers got up and said, "Mr. Hartnett, I'm going to have you arrested. You are doing something illegal in my country." And Chris looked at the gentleman and he said, "Well, if you're going to do it, then go ahead, because you're going to start an international incident." And then the chairman of Singapore Telecom, a very elderly man in his 70s, but very wise, and who's created a very successful business, said, No, calm down." He said, "But Mr. Hartnett, I must let you know that you've cost me $300 million. And Chris said, "Well, why is that?" And he said, "Because we've had to lower our rates 3 times in order to keep up with your company." And Chris very quickly said, "I haven't cost you $300 million. I've saved the people of Singapore $300 million. And if you would have offered me $100 million, I probably would have left your country." So that was Singapore. Indonesia, as you all know, is our partner. And the Indonesian people are here tonight celebrating with USA Global Link a very successful year. Another story about Mr. Hartnett was there was a competition by the World Trade Center Association that has offices all over the world. You know them as the big Twin Towers in New York, but they have in every large city beautiful offices, beautiful buildings. And they had a competition for a favored telecom provider. AT&T, MCI, all the big telecoms from all over the world applied. They looked at their proposals, and USA Global Link won that competition. The award was given in Hong Kong, and at the evening at the ceremonies, there were all the heads of the big multinational telephone companies, and they had a private reception. And one of the very largest companies, the head of that company, had a little bit too much to drink that night. And there was a very large crowd of people, and he approached Chris, and he started saying, "Chris Hartnett, what do you have? You don't have undersea cables, you don't have fiber optic satellite dishes, you don't have hundreds of employees around the world. What do you have that you won this World Trade Center contract?" And all the people in the room were hushed and quiet. And Chris looked at the gentleman. He said, "I have 2 things that you don't have. One is I have the lowest prices in the world, and the second is I have the World Trade Center contract." One more story about Chris is that Chris Hartnett and Holland Taylor, our CEO, were asked by the U.S. government to be part of the International Telecom Union. And this is like the United Nations of all of the telecom world. All the different countries send their ministers, send their top telecom people there, and they sit in a tiered auditorium in Geneva, Switzerland. They all have their translators on, and it looks exactly like the United Nations. And the first meeting that Chris and Holland went to, the United States has 8 seats on this council. The U.S. delegation is 8 seats. AT&T has 1 seat. Sprint has 1 seat. MCI has 1 seat. A company called ComSat has some seats, and the FCC, and then USA Global Link has 2 seats on that. So they were in this meeting, and all the companies, all the telecom companies and the telecom ministers were standing up, and they were haranguing about callback and saying how terrible it was and how they were taking away their market share and how they were pirates and how they should throw them in jail. And Chris looked over at the head of the U.S. delegation. He said, "You think I should stand up and talk?" And the head of the U.S. delegation said, "No way, they'll shoot you." And Chris said, "No, I'm going to stand up and talk." And so he stood up. He's one of maybe only the 2nd private company to ever address this body. And he spoke with Holland Taylor for about an hour. And they told the story of callback and how it really was a friend to the people of the world and how it really kept more money in their countries than the normal telephone companies did. And at the end of that, Chris and Holland received a standing ovation. Many of the people who previously had said they were their worst enemies came up and now they're best friends and they're business associates. And just in that 1 hour, Chris Hartnett changed the entire view of the telecom world. And that's the gentleman that you have so rightly awarded this award tonight. And so I think it's a tribute to the people of Fairfield that such a company as USA Global Link has grown up in your town. It's a tribute to the people of Fairfield that you've honored such a gentleman as Chris Hartnett and that he's so attracted to being here. USA Global Link will be building more buildings in Fairfield, will be bringing more employees, and we intend to do everything we can to promote the success of this town because it really was what Fairfield is that helped USA Global Link become the dominant world player that it is today. So on behalf of Mr. Hartnett, I'd like to thank you all very much for this award.
Well, Sarah, it's time for the grand finale for you. I'm pleased to tell all of you that it's been reported to me by a number of the directors of the chamber that Sarah didn't get lost going to one meeting this last year. She made it to them all, breaking a record that she had. And as you all know, at the end of her term, there was quite a difference between the beginning of her term and the end of her term. When she started as chamber president, we had an executive director. I guess I'll just hand it off to you, Sarah. See what more you can say.
Thank you, Craig. Every year that that I've sat up here and Craig has been MC, I've really been quite nervous that he's going to divulge any more secrets than he already does. And I contemplated asking Bob Phipps to be the MC tonight, but I really didn't want to hear another lawyer joke, Bob. So I knew Craig wouldn't do a lawyer joke, but thank you, Craig, though, for agreeing to MC tonight's program. It's also my pleasure to welcome you, as the other speakers have, and to say thank you for coming out tonight. I have actually prepared some notes, which is kind of the running joke with our board that whenever I speak at these things, I don't usually prepare any notes. And I was trying to remember the last time I did have some notes, and I think it was my last Supreme Court oral argument. So if I say Your Honor, please bear with me. I'm just a little rusty with some notes. But 1996 was a great year for me, and I think a great year for the Chamber. It's hard for me to believe that just a year ago I was standing at the podium and thinking, oh my gosh, I've really said yes and now I really have to do this. But like some other things in life, it was over very quickly, and sorry. That was not in my notes. I know, and I'm going to have people, yeah. That was the other thing I was going to say, that the year went very quickly, and the only thing that will be replaying is it will live on forever as long as FPAC keeps replaying city council meetings. So, moving on, I wanted to share with you, and I will try to be brief because I know we're all anxious to get on to some of the other things, especially Jeff's remarks. Yeah. But I wanted to just share with you some of the progress that we made and through 1996, particularly when we to look at our goals that we set last year at our board planning session in January of 1996. So we set a number of goals, and I just want to briefly bring you up to speed on where we are with those. Of course, since we're on TV, didn't want to wear my glasses, and now I'm going to have to pay for it. Let's see. One of the first goals that we set was a goal that we just described as technology. And in that, we were including trying to educate ourselves as a board in the ever-changing world of technology in an effort to hopefully be able to educate the community and our business people a little bit about what technology can do for us. And, you know, we just had Larry Croman speak about what technology has done for their business, and certainly we would all like to be able to share that kind of success. We, this year, regarding the Chamber goal of technology, did try to educate ourselves on the Internet, and we did offer some classes and offer a sign-up through the Chamber Board and a website through our homepage through a local company. Kind of hand in hand with that, we are always looking for income sources, which was another goal, and we were able to implement using that as an income source for us. So we hope that we can expand it this next year, but it was at least a first step in the vast technology and the training that's out there and available, and hopefully we'll be able to continue in that regard. Another goal that we set was the establishment of a Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Mike worked very hard on that this past year. Everything is in place and ready to go as soon as we get a new executive vice president, so we can list their name as in our foundation. Another goal that we set was housing, and as you may recall, in 1996, early in 1996, we anticipated and did receive a housing survey that indicated to us that we needed more than 400 units of housing in Fairfield, and that was housing that we needed immediately. That was not housing that wasn't any long-term housing. As you know, the Chamber of Commerce Board decided to purchase some real estate located one block off of the square, and that real estate will be developed for senior citizen low to moderate income housing. Our hope is, and it's quite certain, that by building this low to moderate income housing, we'll be able to free up some additional housing in the area, mostly what we would consider entry-level housing that would allow some more people to move to our community to fill the jobs that we have available and the jobs that will be available in the upcoming years. So we're very excited about this project. It's taken a lot of work, and thanks to the City of Fairfield, the mayor and John Brown for their involvement in that project as well. It's quite a coup for us. It's a chamber, city, private partnership, and we're very anxious for the construction to begin. So keep your eye on that part of Fairfield. I'm sure you'll see some vast changes in 1997. Another thing that we wanted to concentrate on in 1996 was membership development. We spend a lot of time trying to recruit new members. Not only is it good for us financially, but we feel it's good for the community in general. And something that we did that went into effect for 1997 is we actually implemented a new office, a new executive committee member who will be our membership chairman. That person will be dedicated to helping us. We don't expect this person to go out knocking on the doors recruiting the members, but help us, guide us to attract new members and also, and perhaps even more importantly, retain the members that we have. And Kevin Toohey has graciously agreed to take that position and lead us into 1997. So we're anxious to see that is successful. So that very briefly is kind of an overview of where we are with our goals where we ended up with our goals for 1996. As I indicated, I think it was a banner year. My letter on the front of your tabloid indicates some personal highlights, but certainly most memorably for 1996 was the resignation of our Executive Vice President, Mike Brewer. And I guess I think that we can't, the Chamber itself can't take all of the credit. We've had the we've been fortunate enough to have Mike spend 10 years with us, with the Chamber. During those 10 years, he gave a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and we certainly appreciate that. He not only kept us on task, but to me, even more importantly, was a visionary. Mike was able to see things that Fairfield could do and could be, and he was there to instruct us, to guide us, to push us along, to make sure that we did many of those things. I know that his 10 years here, he gave much of his love and life to Fairfield, and although he has moved on to another community, we certainly can't say enough or thank him enough for all of his contribution to our community. And Mike, if you'd come forward, we'd have a couple of things we want to give to you. Mike, there's no way that these items can repay you for everything you've given to us. We hope only that when you look at them, you'll be able to say that and know that they came from a very grateful community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It was a beautiful 10 years, and thank you all very much for all of your help.
I also want to take a moment to thank my board of directors, and I will, although I can't commit everything to memory, I'll look at my list here, and as I read your name, would you please stand so that we can acknowledge all of your work. Jeff Wilson as president-elect. Bob Phipps was vice president under my tenure. He's now president-elect. Pat Doyle is treasurer. Jody Kerr. Bev Nelson. Steve Triplett. Kevin Toohey. Dale Kraus. Deb Davis. Carol Bermel. Jill Burnett. Bill Pollock, Kenny Norton, Roger Gay, Richard Walrab. As association members, Dave Reif, Allison Rollins, Stu Gomer Jr., Joe Seahusen. As ex officio members, we have Bob Rasmussen, Dick Walrab, Dennis Heaton, and Keith Schaefer. So I wanted to thank all of you, and I certainly appreciate all of your guidance, your willingness to spend the extra time and take the extra trouble. We did a lot of things in 1996, and I expected a lot from you, and I certainly wasn't disappointed. And I thank you very much. I also wanted to give special thanks to my executive committee, the officers from 1996, once again when I asked you to serve on just one more committee. You were always very willing to do so, and I certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much. And always last, or so it seems, but certainly never least, we need to thank our Secretary Juanita Martin and our Administrative Assistant Nancy Morrissey. Thank you. No matter it seems like no matter how many more projects or programs we take on, or how many more things we want them to do, they were always very willing to do it, and to do it with a smile. And certainly without your support, we wouldn't be anywhere. We wouldn't know where we were supposed to be. So thank you very much. And at this time, I would like to give the Past Director Award, and I'd like to give special thanks to our Past Director, Reverend Richard Walrab. Although he still serves on our board as ex officio from the Ministerial Association, the Chamber Board wants to personally thank him for serving as a board member for these past 6 years. When I think of what Reverend Walrab contributed during the time that I've been on the board, I guess I likened him to E.F. Hutton. He was didn't say much, but at the times that he said it, everyone listened. So he gave us a lot of insight and a lot of good thought, and we certainly appreciate very much his 6 years of contribution to the board, and look forward to having him continue on as ex officio member. So if you could please come forward. And I also have the privilege of being able to choose someone who has particularly assisted me in this past year. I wish that I could have given a whole bunch of these awards, but certainly that's not feasible time-wise nor money-wise. But I do want to take the chance right now to thank Craig Foss, Tim Kiken, and Myron Gookin for knowing that I was doing a lot of chamber work at the office, but still putting up with it. Thanks. And along with that, my secretary, who was always willing to type those chamber notes, so thanks. But as president, as I said, I get to choose the award for the President's Award for someone who's particularly helped me. And there were a lot of people who were great help to me all throughout the year. But the person that I selected, I guess I wanted to thank him for his support and his guidance during a time that for me was a little challenging, a little difficult, but he was always willing to listen to me on the phone and give me some assistance, some guidance, and say, hang in there, everything's going to work out, everything will be fine in the end. And he was right. I'm sure he doesn't know who I'm talking about, and that would also be like him as well. But to give you a little bit of insight of what he's contributed to the chamber, not only in this past year, but in prior years, I'd have to tell you that he has been president of our chamber already, after serving previously as vice president, then president-elect, then president, then treasurer, and he has agreed once again to fill a vice presidency position. He's always willing to help, and we certainly appreciate it very much. Pat Doyle, though you inspired me as a leader, your support is what was invaluable to me. The recipient of the President's Award goes to Pat Doyle. Almost to the end. My last official duty as president is to pass the gavel. I guess it's somewhat symbolic, and I know that Jeff has already really taken over the reins, and he's already off to a great start. He's got a lot of work ahead of him, as we all know. Without an executive vice president, much of the day-to-day organization is going to fall on Jeff's shoulders, and I'm sure, I shouldn't say this, but I'll bet, had he known, had any of us known, that he may have thought about it an extra day or two, but certainly I have enjoyed very, very, very much serving as Chamber President for 1996. It's been a rewarding experience, a challenging experience, but very much an enjoyable experience. There are a whole lot more faces out there that I recognize this year that I would not have recognized and did not recognize last year. But it's time to move on, and it's time to move ahead. And as Jeff stated in his letter, 1996 will be a year of opportunities, a year of growth for all of us, and we anticipate a wonderful 1997. And as I pass the gavel to Jeff, I guess I would say thank you very much for letting me serve you, and I wish for you a healthy and prosperous 1997. Thank you.
Well, that sounded pretty impressive. The goals and everything. We opted to wait until we have a new exec director hired before we have our planning session, so I don't have a long list. That is our goal, is to get the right person hired. But it's gotten off to a good start. I started this morning just worrying about if the plaques were coming, just details. I should have known that Nancy and Juanita had that all taken care of. But I still called Nancy this morning just to make sure. As far as I can tell, the chamber president does much about the same as all the other board members, but you just worry a little bit more. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. We have a big job to hire Mike's successor. The task is in good hands. We have a very capable board. They're a great group of people to work with. The last couple of years on the exec board, I've really enjoyed it. It's been fun. So we're really looking forward to getting the right person to lead us into the next few years, and hopefully beyond. Pat Doyle and Sarah Cochran are past presidents, and they're going to be there for us. They're both on the executive board and the board of directors. Sarah's legal help was essential to the Chamber's downtown property purchase for senior housing. She spent a lot of time on that, and she's kind of downplaying that, but that was a significant accomplishment this year. Jody is an accountant. We need one of those. Kevin's in marketing. He brings that expertise to us. Bev Nelson's in personnel. And Bob Phipps is another insurance guy. I'm sorry, Bob. But I think we need those two. And Pat, he's still with us on the exec board. The selection committee adds Dick Smith, Pete Nelson, Jay Mitchell, and Dave Reif to our selection process. And those first, we've had 3 meetings now. They've been very good. I'm confident that we'll get a quality person for a difficult job. The early stages of the selection process necessitated a long look at the needs of the Fairfield Area Chamber of Commerce. My respect for Mike Brewer grew through that process. I was kind of impatient with some of those discussions that we had in those first couple of meetings. I wanted to get somebody hired. I was kind of hoping it'd happen by February 1st. I was dreaming. But we did need to go through that process to see where we're at. Mike's style kind of reminds me of guy named Craig McTavish. He's the only guy in the National Hockey League who plays without a helmet. He's a veteran who's never afraid to take a hit for the team. And Mike did get hit, and he did it with some smarts and the coyness of a veteran. And like I said, my respect is just to see somebody who's effectively handled that job. When you go back and take a look at what the job entails, the appreciation just grows. Some people probably say Mike's taken a few too many pucks to the head. But the key is just not playing scared, and that's the way Mike handled things. He's not scared to jump in. Sometimes when decision needed to be made, Mike made a decision. And sometimes when you hesitate too long on a decision-making process, the decision makes itself for you, and sometimes it's just too late to make the right decision for Fairfield or a business or whatever. Fairfield needs a chamber director who can tell FEDA, who can frankly talk to FEDA, the chamber board, the meditating community, merchants, and tell them a few things they might not want to hear. At the same time, he or she, whoever we hire, has to be fair and open-minded. Fairfield's shortage of south entrances should raise a few good-natured eyebrows. But business is business, no matter what door you walk in. The Chamber of Commerce is Fairfield's front door, and that's important to all of us. I hope this isn't the last time I see many of you this year, and like Sarah had said, it's really refreshing after I've been in town for almost 6 years now, to walk into an event like this and know most of the people. And the Chamber has done that. Without the Chamber, I certainly wouldn't have been as far along in just meeting people and enjoying that process as it's happened. For me, I can give a testimony about being involved with the Chamber. There are plenty of Chamber activities. There's lots of things to do. The farm barbecue is fun. The exchange we had this year, where I went to a farm and the people who do farming for a business came into the businesses in town in exchange. It was a full, fun day. Chamber work is fun, and we're happy to spread the fun around. Get involved, do something. You know, it's a nice process. I know there's going to be days this year when I wish I could be in two places at once. I'm not sure if any of the Hunt brothers are here tonight. I don't know. Geez, I hope I don't get myself in trouble, Beth. But Joe told me he walked into the Methodist Church elevator last fall, and two elderly ladies thought they were talking to the publisher of the Fairfield Ledger. Our bald heads make us prospects for one of those separated at birth stories. Joe, Dick, and Bob have made me an honorary Hunt brother. I do appreciate it. We have a lot of fun with that. So tonight, this is the real Jeff Wilson, but if I need a stand-in, Joe may be here, but we're not telling. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Craig. I was arguing with him there. There is a past president's award for Sarah. So, Sarah, the gavel we used last year to pass, wasn't it? Congratulations. Thank you.
Before we move on to the Outstanding Citizen of the Year awards, I'd like to make a couple of comments. First of all, as I think maybe some of you have been able to figure out, Tim, Myron, and I don't stand much of a chance battling with Sarah. So we have to gang up and stay together on this. And after your kind remarks, Sarah, I can't tell you what I was going to tell you. And I was going to tell you that because of all the time you spent on chamber activities, your vacations for 1997, 98, and 99 have been used up. But I think the three of us will get together and talk about that some more, and we'll let you know. Another thing, too, a lot of you may not know this, but your new chamber president is really quite an accomplished softball player. In fact, I refer to him as Coach Wilson. He's, in addition to punishing himself for many, many years as being a Northwestern Wildcat fan, and of course that punishment's ended here the last few years. It's great to be a Wildcat fan, right? Yeah. He's also a Chicago Cubs fan. It must have been brutal, Jeff. But Jeff has a cannon for an arm. He's a very accomplished softball hitter and a good softball player. Got to know Jeff a little better this summer when we played in one of those over something softball leagues. I think it was over 25, was it? Something like that. So that's one of Jeff's attributes that a lot of you may not know about, and he's quite good at it actually, and he manages well too. Setting a lot of expectations for you here, Perez. And also, I'm looking forward to this year with Jeff being president and Bob Phipps being president-elect. I figure 1997 could be the year of the dueling media. We have the newspaper media baron, Jeff Wilson, versus Ted Turner Phipps. So it should be interesting. The chamber should get an awful lot of free publicity. Presenting the first Outstanding Citizen of the Year award is Martha Rasmussen. Martha.
Thank you very much. You know, in this envelope, it's kind of like Golden Globes or the Emmys or something. I can reveal to you now who one of the outstanding citizens for this year was going to be. I would only like to say thank you very much for the honor last year. It's one of those nights you really don't even know what you say, I think. It's kind of such a shock that it takes this year to kind of begin to say thank you for the honor. But this evening, I think it's very special. Our community is composed of many individuals and many interests and achievements. It's a very unique community. So tonight we're going to honor a woman who truly is such an individual, who is always on the go on behalf of her community. When she is away, she serves as one of Fairfield's most enthusiastic ambassadors. And when she's home, she is apt to be most anywhere, lending her many talents, her considerable organizational skills, and her support to any of a great number of local activities and projects. Although not a Fairfielder by birth, she has served her adopted hometown well. She thrives on community service, but many of her contributions are quietly accomplished behind the scenes with little fanfare or recognition. When she is asked to get involved, she seldom refuses, and once she has accepted a responsibility, you may be assured that it will be fulfilled carefully and completely with much attention to detail. This busy lady finds lots of time for her husband and her 3 children and is now thoroughly enjoying the role of grandmother. In the past, she served as a Brownie and a Girl Scout leader. I'm sure those little girls had a great time, but I'm sure they learned a lot too. She still enjoys spending time with children and has been busy reading to elementary school students from time to time. She loves to play games and do crossword puzzles. In fact, we've even been told that she doesn't get dressed in the morning until she finishes the puzzle for the day. Her interest in the visual and performing arts is well known. In 1966, she was one of the most instrumental founders of the Fairfield Art Association and remains one of the most loyal supporters. She has always been involved with the theater, but nearly always her role has been backstage, creating scenery, locating props, and tending to 101 other details so necessary for a successful production. The one and only time she had an actual part in a production, she came on stage and promptly forgot her one and only line. So now you see why she's kept behind the scenes. She was a driving force behind the reorganization of the Fairfield Area Community Theater in 1989, and she continues to serve on the FACT board as the treasurer. Our honoree has lent her excellent organizational skills to many local groups, having served as president of the Fairfield Golf and Country Club, Chapter MB of PEO, the Fairfield Friendship Force, and Abracadabra. She was a member of the Alpha Xi Delta Alumni Group and an active member of the Fairfield Panhellenic Society. She's a member of Chapter E Tri-T, and she served on the Founders Day and camp committees. Her service is not limited to our area alone. She was recently named to the Terrace Hill Society board, and she serves as a Brady Foundation board member. Her unofficial role as one of Fairfield's unofficial ambassadors has grown out of the involvement with the Fairfield Friendship Force. She has thoroughly enjoyed hosting foreign guests in her home, and she's visited Germany, England, New Zealand, Russia, the Philippines, Peru, China, Ireland, and the Netherlands. This unassuming friend also looks out for many of her fellow Fairfielders in quiet ways. She brings food and other goodies, and most especially a cheerful word and a great smile to those who may have difficulty getting out and about. She always seems to be there in times of need for her friends and acquaintances, and she always seems to know just what needs to be done. Many little girls have been delighted to have a special trip to her home to see her wonderful, wonderful dollhouse. Words like lover of black, pack rat, garage stacker, avid collector, all fit in comfortably with descriptions of this individual's many unselfish contributions to others. She was born in Ottumwa to Edward and Josephine Burchett, and she and her younger brother Peter were raised in Bloomfield, where she received her early education. She later graduated from the George School in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. She married Gary in 1955, and they're the proud parents of Druitt of Denver, Colorado, Streeter of Des Moines, and Josie of Minneapolis. 4 granddaughters now brighten her life, and they love to come to her house for their annual summertime camp cousins, where the food is great, the playtime is wonderful, and good manners are strictly enforced. Who else would collect porcelain and china hands, polish silver as a favorite hobby, and yet travel to some remote areas of the world at the drop of a hat? We are told that at times she's just a little forgetful, and lately she's spent countless hours looking for her glasses and her teacup. But we're certain that this evening will not be something that she will quickly forget, and we're delighted to honor as an outstanding citizen of 1996, Nan Cameron.
I lose my glasses and my teacup. Thank you very much. I really, it seems like quite a while since I've really been as active in the community as I used to be. And I guess I just never thought about receiving this. And I came tonight on another pretense. And I really don't know what to say, except that we came to this community in 1958 when Gary finished law school. We were going either to Springfield, Missouri or Cedar Rapids. because they looked like interesting communities. And then one day there was a notice on the bulletin board in the law school that said, we need a new young lawyer in Fairfield. So Gary wanted a practice of his own. And so we came down, and all the lawyers were so nice to us and gave us little business after we got here and what have you. So we moved with our little kiddies, who were 6 months and a year and a half and 3 at the time. And I don't think we've ever regretted for a minute coming here. When we lived in Des Moines for a short time, when Gary was in politics, we thought about staying. And actually the main reason we came back was because we wanted our children to grow up in a town just like Fairfield. And I think our children, who all live in cities, regret a little bit that their children aren't growing up in a town like Fairfield, or Fairfield particularly, when they have to worry about the fact that their children can't ride their bikes after dark or have to be picked up from everything at school or that sort of thing. It is a nice community, a very nice community. And I don't know, I have a feeling we'll just spend the rest of our days here. But I have learned to say no occasionally, which I never used to do. So just because I'm getting this doesn't mean I'm just going to do everything that comes down the pipe now. Thank you very much.
And presenting the second Outstanding Citizen of the Year award is Dr. James Dunleavy. Oh, here he is.
It's been traditional for the winner of the previous year to present this. Mr. Edgerton is doing what all retired people should do, and that's take care of some grandchildren business up in central Iowa. And so they reached far into the distant past, and you see an unfamiliar face. And I can only think that the first time I attended one of these, Jack McKenzie was congratulating the committee that had gone around the square and demanded $1,000 from 100 people, so that we went out and got the American Chain and Cable from Adrian, Michigan. I think that was a outfit that hired 120 of our people. It made push and pull controls for outboard motors and Plymouth automobiles. And now we are hiring many more people than that, sending our words and information around the world. And our factory has since moved to Arkansas. So time goes. This recipient of the Outstanding Community Service Award was born and raised right here in Jefferson County. By vocation a farmer, he is by avocation a community servant. Early on, he suffered an unusual form of rheumatoid arthritis and was thought to be destined to a wheelchair. Instead, by his own courage, he beat that medical rap, but he had his education plans interrupted by 2 unfortunate deaths of older brothers, so that he was expected to take over the family farm. He made sure his sisters received their higher education. He was married, and with his wife raised 7 children. Now, that should make him eligible for an award all by itself. But tonight we honor not only success in occupation and family life, but unselfish service to the community. He had hardly attained adulthood when that service started. The day after he was 21, he was picked to be a township trustee, and the long life of public service began. In turn, he served on the Pleasant Plains School Board and the Fairfield Community School Board. This was during the rocky years of redistricting, and every decision was opposed by somebody, and sometimes an entire group. He weathered that period and served both as vice president and board president of the resultant Fairfield Community School Board. He served the rural community as a 4-H leader early on, and subsequently as a board member of the Farm Bureau. He was chosen to be a board member of the Farm Home Administration and elected to the board of the First National Bank, where he chaired the Loan Committee. He continued serving education interests of our community by representing us on the Southern Prairie AEA. Then, in 1981, we elected him to be a Jefferson County supervisor. He did his job honestly and enthusiastically for a decade and a half. If we were to crystallize his term of office in a phrase, it might be said that he allowed Jefferson County to enjoy the benefits of regional government while keeping county control at home. He did this by participating in a number of multi-county and statewide boards and commissions. He was chairman of the 8th Judicial District Corrections Commission, chairman of a 10-county area transit commission, chairman of a 10-county job training council, and vice chairman of the state job training council. He was a member of a 7-county hazardous waste material board and a board member of a 10-county Seneca area on aging. He served statewide committees for the Iowa Department of Transportation in design and engineering and in legislative review. And all that is just a partial list of his activities. He nearly paid with his life several years ago when on county business, on the way to the Jefferson County Rest Care Facility for an inspection, a serious auto accident occurred. After about an hour and a half in the emergency room, he regained consciousness and looked up recognized the face of who was trying to get the top of his head back on, and said, "Jim, did I miss much of the board meeting?" It was nice to know that although his body was thoroughly scrambled, his brain was still fine. A long term of surgery and rehabilitation followed, but he carried out his responsibilities without interruption all through his convalescence. Many recipients of this award have served our community selflessly, but no one has done so with any more dedication over a lifetime as this man has done. We as a community salute and thank H. Roy Lamansky.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you, the board of the directors of the chamber and the members of the chamber and the people in Fairfield and Jefferson County. I enjoyed every minute of the time that I spent serving the people in Jefferson County. And I heard some comments tonight about what a great place this is to live in Jefferson County and Fairfield. And I'm glad I was able to be a part of the group that did make this, that worked to make this place a good place to live. And I'm looking forward to spending some time with my grandkids and doing some traveling. And I'd like to say that receiving this award tonight makes 1997 a really great year for me. Thank you very much.
That brings to a close the 1997 Chamber Awards Banquet. I'd like to thank all of you for coming. I'd like to congratulate all the award recipients. I've been asked to remind those award recipients to stay afterwards for pictures. The print media would like to have pictures. Bob? I'd like to thank the Elks for their hospitality. I'd like to thank all of you for coming and look forward to seeing you all here again next year. Thank you.
What, you want a tongue? Is that? Well, yeah, that's it. That's it. A little
We get just one with that.
Marty, you have to have one, he said.
Gotta have one. They might want. Alrighty. Thank you. Okay. Jerry, you want me to move this table? Do it. You got white egg. up just a little bit. All right, big smile. Here we go. 3, 1, 2, 3. One more. 2 more. Here we go. Big smile. 1, 2, 3. One more. One more. Another big one. 3, 1.
Yeah. Harper Brad.
Right here. Okay, David. Do we have anybody from Harper Brothers still here?
Yours was so good, Donna.